Hello everybody, welcome back. All right, so we last played Spyro. That was good fun. I enjoyed that. I look forward to playing some more this weekend. But let's actually, since I forgot to do it last week, I keep forgetting to do this. I'm sorry. I'm at fault. I understand. I make mistakes all the time. But let's call this board meeting number 7. Because I forgot to do a board meeting on Friday. This is gonna be our board meeting, right? I think it's number 7. Numero 70. There we go. Let me make sure that actually updated. Yes, sir. Let me check on Kick as well. Damn, hold on a second. Yep, looking good. Alright, everybody. Let's move on. Close out everything first of all. I am going to this out of the way. Go. I know you can't say anything yet. Give me 1 second. No, we've said that. Just let me look at that. In case you are in the future. Hold on. We're getting it started. Don't you worry your pretty old head. Open up the practice project. And here we are. Hello everybody. Oops. There we go. Hello everybody. There it is, huh? So, as you well know, we're pulling our hair out, trying to figure out how the signals work, how to get those to do what I need to do. All that fun stuff. But honestly, right now at least, I think I'm just overcomplicating them a lot. Right? Like, I think for all our purposes right now, all we do is just connect them up manually. I'll figure out how to actually do the stuff I need it to do when that problem arises. I don't really need it right now. Hell, I don't even know if I'm gonna need it in the future, but we'll figure it out. So right here in the code, something I realized actually is with the bounce pad. If you remember, And the code for this game, we created a bounce pad. Yay! You can have a triple jump. Well, I have a double jump right now. And then I hit this. And land and all that. Double jump. But if I jump once, hit it, I can only jump once more. Well, hold on. If I double jump and then hit it, I can't jump again. No matter time that I press it. So, stupid me was thinking to myself, okay, I need to fix this in the code, right? This is right here. Bounce jumps do not reset on landing on the bounce pad. So you have a additional jump or what have you. Like you say, you have like a triple jump, right? I needed you to land on it and then be able to double and jump 2 more times after that, right? So stupid me, for whatever damn reason, was thinking, okay, I get it. Once we I just lost entire train of thought. Give me a second. Oh yeah, Stupid was thinking we had to put like another area 2D down and like make it like 1 pixel above that or something so it resets the jumps before you start bouncing. I don't have to do that at all. I just had to put that in this code. So I don't know why the hell I was thinking that. So, and then yeah, okay, so this is what I'm talking about. I need a signal here to reset this actually. And I think I can do this by this. God help me if I can't. You have the 2D node. How do I do this? I need to like make this little children. I think that's what I needed. This one. Can I connect it? Can connect it. Hell yes. Question mark? Where is this actual code at? Okay, yeah. On bounce zone, body entered. Set the let me make sure I do this right. Alright, give me a second. There we go. Over. is equal to max jump minus 1. What's the debugger telling me? Well, let's test this first of all. That didn't do anything. Hold on. Even if I do a pass? No. That's fucking crazy. That shouldn't be affecting anything. But it is. What? What? Oh wait, hold on. What the fuck? Okay, I guess. Let me actually fix this up. Jump inverse equal to max minus 1. What? Okay, it works. Hell yeah. At export. Well, that's not right. Let's remove the export value or whatever the hell you want to call it. Why are you setting it infinitely? Uh, why? What those set to 0? You know what? What? I don't know, 1? I don't remember how this works. Oh, I fucking hate this. Property or key, jump normal value type int on a base object of type int. What? You're telling me that I'm passing an integer when it should be an integer? Are you fucking insane? Is that what that says? Am I crazy? Gosh. Dude, I'm losing my fucking mind. What do you mean? Instant crash. Actually, it's not even anything after that. Oh fucking god. This is so fucking hard for me. Where's that one, guys? Oh my gosh, this is the fucking worst thing I've ever had to experience while doing this shit. Vodka hour-long tutorial, let's go.
A lot of really good quick tutorials on signals that will help you get going. But if you're sort of struggling with signals or it's not quite clicking, maybe a more long-winded explanation will help. So let's kind of go over what signals are and from the beginning, and then see some code examples of how to do this, both connecting them visually, connecting them in software, and then maybe even discussing some other topics like an event bus to sort of go over what those things are and how they work. So signals are important in Godot. The reason is when you have a big project, you have a lot of different nodes. Those nodes have to communicate with each other. You want one node to respond to another, like if an enemy gets hit or the player gets hit and you want the UI to turn red or any of those things. You want to be able to communicate that somehow, and that communication is with signals. Now, my first concept when I started was, with signals was that, let's say here's a player, that he's sort of got this radio tower, and you broadcast, oh, I got hit out into the ether, and then anybody out there could pick up on it. Like the UI could just detect the player just emits a signal called hit, and the UI can just detect hit. Okay. And anybody else, like an enemy, could also pick up on it, or whoever's out there. But this is not really how signals in Godot work. It's probably the better analogy, rather than sort of a radio tower broadcast out to the entire project. Probably the better way to think about it is subscribing to a newsletter. So here's your player, for example, my channel, and maybe they have a got hit signal. Here, what I would say is it's more like if you're the UI or an enemy, you have to subscribe to that newsletter. You actually have to direct each of these nodes to the player's signal got hit, and then the signal got hit. When it emits the signal, it's not really emitting it out to everything. It's really just emitting it back to the elements that have subscribed to it. So I hope that helps a little bit in terms of the analogy. We can also, just to kind of go over it a little bit more, we can talk about what's going on under the hood. So let me just get a new window here. So we know GDScript. We all know and love GDScript. And the thing about GDScript is it makes our lives really easy. It's got a lot of convenience, it's easy to write, but what it's really doing under the hood is calling C++. And in order to kind of understand what's going on under the hood for signals, you really have to understand the concepts of object-oriented programming. And when you make a script, like let's call this like a player script. And we'll call it like a class player, or a class name player, sorry. And it inherits something, right? It's extending something. And it has variables. Like, for instance, it has its own health.
Yes.
And it has some functions, like maybe it has on, or like an attack function. And when you make this script is really a blueprint or a template for making a specific object of type player or type enemy, for example. And anytime you make a new object, you're actually creating a completely new...
Hold on a second. There we go. Sorry, I was yelling, so I couldn't hear what he said there.
Specific object of type player or type enemy, for example. And anytime you make a new object, you're actually creating a completely new and separate entity that exists completely independently of each other. So this is just the template, but actually once you invoke it, once you make an actual object, then you get player, for example, player 1. And if you made a second player, you would have player 2. And each one would have its own health. And each one would actually have its own functions as well, also called methods. And so for instance, if for, let's say, take damage, let's say we had a take damage function. When we call, this we'll call player 2, it has its own health, its own attack function, and its own take damage function.
Oh, sure has unfortunately off camera, my bad.
When you call this take damage function, for instance on player 1, and it subtracts from the health, it's just going to subtract from player 1's health because this object exists separately. This function is only bound to this health.
Damn, keep yawning, fuck.
When you call this take damage function, for instance on player 1, and it subtracts from the health, it's just going to subtract from player 1's health because this object exists separately. This function is only bound to this health variable. Just like this take damage will only affect that. And really what's going on under the hood is that every time you make a new object...
That brings me back a question though. Like what's gonna happen if I like make a game and then I need to transition levels? Like how do I set my health and everything like that to the health of the previous instance of me that existed before?
C++, so here's your computer's RAM. And these are like just sort of theoretical spots in RAM. And then we'll have some contacts for it. What happens under the hood is that GDScript is telling the C++ to put a new object in this spot of RAM. And so this may be where player 1 resides. And player 1, its health variable, its take damage function, all of these things are stored in its own spot in memory. And then when you make another player, it comes here. And then when you make another enemy, or let's say make an enemy, it'll go here. If you make another enemy, it'll go into completely different spots. And so that's why when you're connecting signals, if we go back to our little diagram, let's see, where's the other one? If you go back to your little diagram, when we make, for instance, let's say a second player, and you want the UI to communicate with that, you're not going to be able to just do it simply with calls in the main script. You're really going to have to tell the UI object, or this enemy, or say let's enemy 2, let's say we have a second enemy. You're really going to have this one not only subscribe to player 1's got hit, but you're also going to have to tell it to subscribe to player 2's, enemy 2, enemy, and enemy 2, all of which are going to have to not only subscribe to the first player, but also the second. Now, that's obviously seems a little tedious. How come I can't do this? And the answer is there are sort of ways around this. There are sort of ways we can achieve this like a simulacrum of this broadcast system, and this is what we'll call an event bus. This sort of gives you a bit of a global way of communicating and joining up nodes. You still have to connect them one by one, but it makes it a little bit easier for these objects to find each other and do that at the expense of organization, and obviously this thing can get pretty complex the more signals you have. The other way we can maybe towards the very end we'll look at is using this idea of static. And if we come back to our memory here, the idea of static, and we'll get to it again, both a more in detailed description of an event bus, but static, once we, which has been introduced, I think, in Godot 4.1, in terms of GD script anyways, obviously it was always there in C++, but with the static variables, we can actually share certain variables that all players will have into one spot in memory. And of course there's limitations to that, because obviously this can't necessarily communicate backwards easily with all those things, but it does give us a place where all things can be shared. All right, so without further ado, let's actually get into doing some code and some examples. And let's see. All right. So here we are. I'm going to make a new scene, and we'll start at the very beginning. Here it's a very good place to start. So let's just make a scene, and we'll call it world. All right.
Fuck, that's not what I meant to do at all.
So here we are. I'm going to make a new scene, and we'll start at the very beginning. Here it's a very good place to start. So let's just make a scene, and we'll call it world.
Let me do this. Close. Really do anything? Or I guess this should just went without quitting, but or saving. Ugh. All right, let's create a new one, fresh one. Tutorial. Okay, simple enough that call it world. Perfect.
All right, so move my tablet out of the way. All right, so we have this world scene, and in it I'm gonna add a couple things. And so here, let's just drag in some assets, some high quality AI assisted assets that I made.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's start with a couple things, and the first thing we're going to do is just a simple button, and we'll connect these things visually, and then I'll show you how to do things in code and why you might need to connect things with code. All right, so here we just have a button, and I'm just going to add an enemy. Add a sprite, sorry. Let us connect the enemy up. All right, so we have this enemy and a button. And now to move the enemy, when you have this jumble, you can see I'm dragging out the world and everything, which is not what I wanted. So just come here, select what you want to move, which is the sprite 2D, hold down Alt, and then drag, and then you'll only drag the...
Oh, hold on a second. That's crazy. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could set the texture for the button. Looking awesome. But I don't want to do that really. I do see, like the nice man said. I'll make it a part of that because fuck you. Go.
thing you're interested in. All right, the other thing I want is to move this button. So again, hold Alt and hold Alt and move it. And actually this guy, I want to kind of move next to the button. And let's just make this bigger, and let's just call it creatively button. All right, so the most basic way to start with signals is to just use the visual inspector. Basic creatively button.
I put that side, okay.
All right, so the most basic way to start with signals is to just use the visual inspector. So what do I want to do? I just want to change this this sprite to a different color when I click the button. What property do I need? Well, it's sprite 2D is a canvas item, and all canvas items have modulate. So as you can see, if I adjust the modulate, I can change the color of the sprite kind of.
Okay,
so let's hit play, make sure our project looks okay. Yes, I'll select current, save the world scene. And this is going to be probably a little bit tiny for you guys, so let's just do some project settings quickly. And I'll do a few things. Let's see. Let's come here to textures, and then I want them to look pixely. So I'll go from linear to nearest, and now it shouldn't be blurry anymore. And then the other thing I want to do is, I'm going to need advanced settings, come to display window. And let's just make this bigger for you guys. So let's make it a 400 by 300, and then we'll come here to window with override and make it, let's do what, 1200 by 900. I think that's 3 times both those things, and then we also need to stretch it. So where are you? Otherwise it'll just be tiny. So we come here to mode, stretch viewport. And now we close it, and now when I hit play, hopefully, and we can see that better. All right, so we can see that better. All right, so the first way to connect a signal is coming over here to anything that emits a signal. And a button obviously will emit a signal to tell it, hey, the button's been pressed. And in fact, we do see when we come here to the node tab, after we've selected our button, we can see this pressed method is here, and I want to come here and I want to connect this, but as you can see, I need to connect it to something. And typically in Godot, the pattern is you're going to signal up and then call down, which basically means I want to signal up to a node above me, which will be able to talk to all the nodes below it so that they can communicate with each other. That's how I'm going to sort of achieve this wiring diagram or subscribing things to each other. So I'm going to need a world script. So let's come here and just make a world script. Oh, no, I don't want a button script. I want a world script. So let's create that. I'm just going to get rid of these guys. So now when I come here,
let's just do that. There we are.
to button. Oh, let me save it. Now when I come here to button, and I look over here at the signals, I see the pressed, and when I hit connect, and you can also just double click right on the signal if you want, it'll come here and it'll give me now this receiver method. Now, obviously, there are more advanced things you can do. For instance, if you just want to bind it to a specific function, that availability is there, but I think that's out of the scope of sort of beginners. So let's just come here to the world, and we'll click. We'll connect the buttons press signal to beginners function. That availability is there, but I think that's out of the scope of sort of beginners. So let's just come here to the world, and we'll click. We'll connect the buttons press signal to the world. And so as you can see, when I see press now, I do see this little icon, and when I hover over it, it's showing me that it's connected to a function on button press. And if you see the little dot dot, what that means, it's connecting to the node above it. So buttons node above it is the world, and that's on button press that we're going to call, and that's right here. And I want to change the sprite's color, so we'll use a modulate. So I'm going to come over here, click on the sprite, drag it over, hold down control before I let it go, and it'll give me my on ready. And I've enabled type hinting, and you should absolutely too. That's going to be really helpful for you. But we'll come here to sprite 2D, and we'll hit dot, and the modulate property was what we wanted. And you can modulate, if you just look quickly and modulate, it's going to take a color.
Okay.
And so we are going to give it a color, and I'm just going to do color dot red. So I'm setting the modulate property to red. And now when I click the button, this turns red. And if I wanted to do that to a second sprite or anything else on the screen, let's just make another icon, sprite 2D, and then I'll drag my enemy on there.
Oh. What the fuck? What has the on ready caused us to happen? I don't remember using on ready for any of this.
I'll go to my world, and I'll hit Alt and drag it. And now if I go to the world, I can now call down to the next sprite. I actually need to grab that sprite out of here. So again, holding down control right before I release it. And sprite 2D2, what a terrible name, dot modulate equals color dot, let's make this one blue. And as you can see, when I hit play and I click the button, now both these sprites are going to be modulated.
Huh.
So that's the really basic way of connecting sprites, and I'm sure you guys, or connecting signals, and I'm sure you guys have looked through that already. But just so we're on the same page. But now I kind of want these nodes to start talking to each other. And so let's up the complexity a little bit by creating an example. You're not really going to just have a sprite in your scene. You're probably going to have an inherited scene. So let's actually go ahead and make an enemy scene. So I'm going to make a 2D scene, and let's actually inherit it from character body 2D, and we'll call it enemy. And it's going to need a sprite.
Add character body 2D sprite.
And it would also need a collider, but we're not going to get into that, so we'll just name it sprite. And just like any scene, you're probably going to have its own script attached, so let's make an enemy script and create. And it's going to extend the character body 2D, and the other thing we're going to do is give it a class name. Since I think class names are generally helpful. Attached, so let's make an enemy script and create. And it's going to extend the character body 2D, and the other thing we're going to do is give it a class name. Since I think class names are generally helpful, and we'll save it as enemy. So now we have this enemy scene, we have an enemy script attached to that scene, And now if we come back to our world, now I want this button to act on the scenes. And as you can
Uh, Bam. Okay. Right. No class name about.
see, this already has a pretty set pattern onto it. I think one of the problems we're going to have if I add one of these enemies, let's just see. I'm going to go to my world. I'm going to delete these sprites. Oh, I forgot to actually give my enemy a sprite. Let's do that. All right, so now I've got my enemy scene. I'll save it, come back to the world, and let's drag an enemy into this world. And there we go.
Okay.
So just to go back over the first thing we're going to do, we can obviously come here to the enemy and just do the same thing we did the first time around. So we still have our button. It's still connected, as you can see, to that unbutton press signal. If we look at the world, we can grab our enemy just to make sure that this functionality is working, and we can set it to enemy
Yeah. What? I want to delete this. What the fuck? There we go.
dot modulate equals color dot red, or let's make it orange so we know that it's completely different than what happened before. We hit play. Oh, okay. So therein lies a bit of the problem. Since I inherited character body, it's got gravity and physics, and it's going to move too if I wanted to. So let's just get rid of all this stuff because we don't need it for our enemies aren't going to do anything. So we'll just pass. All right.
The only thing he's got on there is just. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen, but I didn't know if he realized it was gonna happen or if he was intending on it to happen or not. There you go. Where the fuck are they? Oh, that's right. I gave an actual sprite. Hold on a second. Is there like a refresh? Wait. Oh wait, on. What's this? Control S. Plus. Yeah, we're good. Now I can hit play. Bam. Yeah, we're good. So I want to turn it pink too. Uh, hot pink. Let's go. Hell yeah. Uh, do blue. It's already blue. Let's see how blue we can get with it. That's pretty blue. I just wanted to actually double check to make sure it was changing color
So
properly.
now hopefully it won't fall. And you can see our button now modulates. But how do I get these nodes to actually talk to each other? How do I get the button to do something on the enemy? So, I don't want to do that. So let's come back to the world. And we're actually going to get rid of the on button pressed function here. And now as you can see, if I get rid of that function and then I hit play and hit the button, nothing's going to happen because this signal is not, this button signal, even though it still says it's connected to this, that function doesn't exist anymore, so it's basically dead in the water. So let's disconnect it from that. So right now I want my button to act on the enemy directly. I don't necessarily want to connect it to the world. So how do I go about doing that? Well, I'm going to come here to my button and my button pressed and double click. And now if you see,
Okay. Disconnect.
the button, since it's the same child of the world, it knows in the tree that the enemy is there, and I can actually connect it directly to the enemy's script. And so when I hit connect this time, as you can see, I've moved into the enemy script, and there's still this connection here. So I'm going to, on button pressed, connect it to modulate, and I'm going to set that equal to color dot, let's make it red again. That's a good color. All right, so I've got this method. You can see it's connected here. You can see there's a connection there. When I go to world and I hit play, again, the world script no longer has that on button press method. It's now on the enemy. When I come here to click play and I click the button, it works. And what's happened is the button has made a connection to this enemy, and it is calling that method on it, on button press method. What happens though if I make a new enemy? And I'll show you where things do. In my enemy scene, let's go back to my world scene, and then I'm going to come up, drag another enemy in, and now I have a second enemy. And let's again alt drag it, move it down right below this enemy. And now, if I come back to my button, you'll see, oh, okay, well, it's connected to this enemy on button press, and the enemy script has an on button pressed method, so shouldn't it work? And the answer will be no.
What?
It only
What the fuck?
changed this enemy. It did not have any effect on the second enemy. And why is that? This gets back to this idea of, let's see, where's my paint? Of each enemy residing in its own spot in memory. And so what I've done, and again, you having to make connections to every single object directly, we have essentially, where's my guy? All right, let me stop. We have only connected this button to this specific enemy's on button pressed method. We have not connected it to this enemy's on button press method, because this enemy's on button press method exists in a completely separate area of RAM, which is not connected. So how would we end up connecting this? Well, visually what we can do is come here to the button and the button press, and we click again, and now we have to connect it to enemy 2. Now, of course, it's going to look like it's connecting to this enemy's on, but this is the same script, so why isn't it working? Because remember, each one technically has its own function. So even though it's sharing this template, which is building those objects, it's not actually connecting each and every individual one. However, now when we come back to our button, you can see we're actually connecting to two enemies.
Okay,
Enemies on button press method and enemies two's on button press method. And now it should work just fine. So now both will turn red. And they both turn red because they're both inheriting the same script, which means they're both on button press methods will change the modulate color to red. We don't have a way of necessarily making it different for each and every one of these ones we spawn in. Just to drive this point further and why we now need to learn how to connect methods with code, what happens in a situation where I want to spawn an enemy in? Right now in the world, we have these two enemies, but let's see if I can do this fancy trick I learned. What happens if right now when we're preparing a project, I've added these two enemies, but what happens if I have a spawner and I want to spawn in a third enemy? This enemy doesn't exist anywhere. It doesn't exist anywhere until we've hit the play button and we add this to our scene. So I have no way of connecting the button to this enemy that doesn't exist yet using the visual inspector. So now we absolutely need to know, if we're going to do that, how to do that with code. So let's learn how to connect things via code. All right. So the first thing I want to do is, in the world, I want to be able to spawn in an enemy. And so how do we do that? So remember, we're going to have to create a preload. So the typical way of doing that is to say const, and then I'll call it enemy spawner, and I'll set that equal to a preload. And we can just come here to the enemy scene, drag it out, hold down control before we release it, and it'll fill in that preload. So now we have a way of spawning the enemy. And the other thing I want to do is we need a ready function. So ready, ready. So now on ready, I want to actually create an enemy from this spawner. And so how do we do that? We make a var, and we'll call it enemy. Let's say enemy 3, because we already have enemy 1 and 2. And I will set it equal to enemy spawner dot instantiate. So I'll make an instance of it. And you'd think that that would be all you need, but unfortunately we still just have 2. So what else do we need? We need to actually give it a new position. So let's set enemy 3 dot position, and let's find a position for it. Let's make it, let's see, where, back to my world. So this guy is at, let's see, come here to the inspector and transform. Let's see, its X position is 1, so let's just make this 180 for easy, 55. This one is, let's make this 180. 122, so what, about 75 more will put us right below it, so that's 180, and maybe let's just do 200. Hopefully that won't be too far down. So let's come back to our world, and then we'll go enemy position equals vector 2, and the X position was 180, and the Y position, let's make it 200. And hopefully that will put it in its right spot. But of course, even though we set its position, we have not added it to the scene yet, so now we need to add it to the scene. So add child enemy 3. And this should show up. Let's see. And there we go. Pretty good spot. All right, so now we have our third enemy, and you can see it spawned in. But it's not here in the inspector. I have literally no way to connect this button visually to this enemy that doesn't exist yet. So now we have to learn how to do this with code. And how do we do this? All right. So remember, we need to connect every single, the button to every single enemy. Otherwise, it won't detect it. So the enemy has already, when it's being created, this on button pressed method. And now we just need to connect it via code. So I can come here and I can say, I need the button's signal. And the button signal is where I'm going to register my function to to talk to it. That's where I'm going to subscribe to that newsletter. So if I come here to the button, and I'm going to need to actually have access to the button, or I won't be able to do this. If I come here to the button dot signal, button dot pressed, you can see here's the button's press signal. And now I need to connect that signal to a function so it can be called. And I'm going to connect it. And what am I going to connect it to? I'm going to connect it to enemy3's dot on button pressed method. Now, as you can see, the autocorrect or the autocomplete has filled in these parentheses, and this is going to not lead to anything desirable. And I'll show you what happens when we play it. It's going to immediately crash, and it says cannot convert argument 1 from nil to callable. And remember, when you call a function, when you use the parentheses, you're actually calling the function. The function is actually being called. It's not, but what we really want to do is connect it to the method itself. And the way you do that is simply getting rid of those parentheses. Now you're basically telling it to connect to the function itself, not to obviously the result of the function call, which in this case would be void because, would be void because when you call the button pressed, all you're getting back from it, is void.
That was the issue I was having earlier, I think.
So here we are. We've now connected the button's pressed connect or the button's press signal. We've connected it to this enemy3's on button pressed. And if I hit play and I hit the button, all 3 are going to light up now, whereas before they didn't. Now, as you can see right now, I've got this jumble, right? We have, the button is connected to these 2 enemies, and then the third is via code. If you wanted to, you can put them all in code, and let's just go through how we would do that. I would have to, again, connect them up one by one. So enemy and enemy 2, we need access to these enemies, because again, we have to be able to wire them up. So just like I did before, I have to do enemy, button dot pressed dot connect, and now I have to connect it to enemy 1's dot on button pressed. And as you can see, the autocomplete is not popping up here. And I can show you the quick fix to that is because essentially we've made a custom class name, but it's still, Godot thinks it's a character body 2D.
Okay.
And the way to fix that is with type hinting. And remember, because our enemy is actually extended, it is an extended character body, but it's of class enemy, we can declare it as class enemy. And sometimes this works, sometimes you have to add a second function, but let's just see now if it happens to work after we save it. What is it? Oh, that's the reason. I already declared it. Okay. Now we do enemy dot on. Nope, yeah, see, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes you also have to come here and do as enemy, and then it'll work. And then the same for enemy 2, just to make my life easier. Enemy as enemy 2. Nope, as enemy. All right, and now, let us see if this works. Enemy dot, and there it is, on button press. And again, we have to get rid of those parentheses because that's not what we don't want to call the function. We want to send it the address of the function. And as you can see, I've now connected enemies on button press. We'll come here to the button just to show you. We'll disconnect these from the old functions. And now when we hit play, I've only done enemy 1, so it should be 1 and 3, but 2 not. So now, just to be pedantic, let's go and do the same. We have to connect button pressed signal to, and we have to connect it to enemy dot on button pressed. Oh, sorry, enemy 2's on button pressed. And now when we hit play, there we go. Now all 3 are going to light up. All right, so as you can see, that's a little bit tedious, and you know
Yeah.
it is what it is. You have to specify each object that you want to connect to each other object's signal, if that makes sense. What if we want to do a custom signal? So let's make our own signal and see how that works. So let's make a new class, and we'll call it a player. So let's come here. We'll make a new 2D scene. I'll change the type. Sorry, I wanted it to be a character body 2. And so now it's a character body 2D, and we'll call it player. And we will add a sprite because we need a sprite. I'm just using Control A to pop up that quickly. So let's drag in our player. All right, and now let's look at our 2D scene. So now we've got our sweet, awesome player.
Sweet, awesome.
And we need a script. Oop, no, I do not want. Oop, let's save it all since that's the other problem. So first save it. Now let's make a script so it knows what it's doing. We'll call it player.gd, sure. And it's extending character body, but we'll give it a class name, player. All right. So we now have a player, and let's turn off the gravity because definitely don't need the gravity. Need this thing falling out. And I'm going to get rid of the jump too, because all I really want to be able to do is move it left and right. And what we're going to sort of try and accomplish with this is we're going to have it so that our player, so let's save this, what we're going to try and accomplish here is, let me move these enemies. Let's select, all right, let's do that, Alt, and then Alt drag. So let's just move these enemies over here. And let's actually get rid of the button. I'm sick of this button.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, you're gone. All right. What we're going to sort of try to have happen here is, where's my player scene? Let's drag in a player. Is my player is going to, as it approaches and it gets closer and closer, we want these guys to first turn orange and then turn red to sort of show that they're getting angry. And obviously you would have much more elaborate code that this triggers, but let's just show you how to set this up with a custom signal that kind of triggers. It's the player is going to tell the enemies that I'm getting closer, they're going to turn orange, and then we'll get really close and turn red. But
I want to say real quick, I'm sorry if anyone's watching this in the future. I'm just dead quiet. I'll be honest, I'm falling asleep over here. No fault of this guy. I've just been really tired lately. I don't know why. I've just been dead tired constantly.
And that's how do we create our own signal. So I'm going to come back to my player.
I've actually fallen asleep. Yeah, it's just.
And I want to make the player have its own signal.
Really tired.
Signal to the enemies that I'm getting close.
I have a mind to quit it early. I know I said I was going to do signals today.
Signal, and we'll call it.
I said I was moving on for signals in this fucking one, but what I do signals.
All right, and I'm not going to give it any parameters for now, but we'll talk about parameters in a little bit. And what I want to have happen is, as the player gets past, let's say, let's just come back to our world and look at the scene. Let's see if this works again. I want to have sort of these imaginary thresholds that if the player crosses the world positions X, so let's say this is X equals, I don't know, let's say about 75 pixels, these guys are going to respond to that by turning, let's just start by turning red to begin with, and then we'll adjust it so that we even have two different, oh god, that's a terrible line. Maybe like X equals 150 pixels or something. And when it crosses that, we're going to signal to these enemies to turn red. All right. Oh, that's gone. All right. So how are we going to do this? So the player, I know in a script, I want to emit a signal, the aggro signal, when it crosses that 75 pixel threshold. So I do know that if the player, oh, well, I'm already the player. If the position, is it global position? Yeah, global position. If the global position dot x value is greater than 75 pixels, I want to emit that signal. And there's two ways you can do it. The old way is to emit signal, and as you can see, aggro will pop up, and I can emit the signal that way. But now that you know Godot, these are first-class objects of the methods. Let's just actually use the signal itself, because the signal is an object itself, and we want to connect this aggro signal, or we want to emit this signal when that global position is greater than 75. Great. So now I have this signal, and it's being emitted. But remember, oh yeah, sorry, there's no more button, so you have to go. And you have to go. So there's no more, oh, we forgot to move him, darn it. Let's see, what position are you at? You guys are now at position 365, so we're going to come back into our script and set you at 365. All right, so now when the player theoretically crosses that threshold, it will emit that signal, but nothing happens because we haven't connected that signal to anything. So I need to now connect these enemies.
I first of all, I changed the name of this stream. You saw it already, but I changed it to not moving forward from signals. No new adventures await. I just added not and no to the title. So put out a tweet in regards to my earlier tweet saying, now that we've kind of sort of gotten signals figured out, sort of, we can figure out fun things to create. We can figure out new fun things to create. And then I replied to saying, spoiler alert, none of this happened. The suffering continues, because it is. The suffering does continue.
So we can come here to our player, and if we go to node,
this man is very helpful for me.
Inspector, so we now see that
I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Signal that I've made.
I need to figure out how to affect,
just like we did before, with the press
personally
signal,
created
you double-click the
variables
aggro,
in this in my code.
I hit connect, and now we have on player aggro here, and I can.
Because I get how to edit modulate, but say I have a variable called
red,
like jump number that I was trying to edit earlier. How do I change that?
And I'm gonna hit play.
I don't fucking know.
And as you can see, I crossed that 75 threshold. I emitted the signal, and because I've connected the enemy's signal to that threshold emission, which is basically
so painful.
Just the signal is just going to call the function. That's as soon as the emit is really just call whatever functions are bound to it. That's the best way to think about it. And the function that's bound to it is this enemy's on player aggro function. But none of the other enemies are connected yet because I have not individually connected them. So let's just come back here. I'm going to disconnect it visually. And we are going to look at it here. And as you can see, since I've disconnected it visually, nothing's happening again. So let's connect it with code. And we come here to the world. And I can see now that in order to do this, I need to take all my enemies. Enemy dot. Excuse me. So now I need to connect to the player signal, right? And the player has the signal. So we need the player. So I'm going to come out here, drag out the player, and then remember I made a class name, so I'm going to set it to player, and I'm going to say as player, because if we didn't, we wouldn't get our.
By the way, in case you ever see my camera shaking, that's because I'm shaking my leg.
I can see there's
and it's up against my desk, and it's causing my monitor to rumble a little bit, which is causing my camera to move around.
Connect it. And I need to connect it to something, so I'm going to connect it to enemy dot on player aggro. And remember, we need to get rid of these parentheses because we're not calling it a function, we're connecting to the function. And then if you want to connect the other right now, that's going to work for, again, it's going to work for the first one, but not the other ones. So I would need to come here and connect enemy 2, and then after I spawn in enemy 3, I also need to connect enemy. Well, my naming conventions are all over the place. All right. I need to now connect this. So when I hit play, we go, all three are now going to respond
I
to that signal.
assume the way you do it for
All
freshly
right.
spawned enemies is like if you had a spawner, you would do the add child thing, and then you would set its name, and then get that name, and then set that from there.
How do I now? I want
Connect
to
it from
have
there.
two thresholds. I want to be able to tell it if it crosses one threshold to kind of turn orange, and if it crosses that other threshold to really get aggro and turn red. So how do I go about doing that? All right. So this is where the custom signal has a neat function. You can pass parameters. And I'm going to set, obviously you could have an enum do this, but let's just for simplicity's sake go with,
Could have been an email.
let's go with just an integer, and we'll call it aggro level, and we'll type it as an int. So now I want that function to respond in two different levels. So when it's global position.x is 75, I want to emit signal. I want to emit the lower of the two, and if it gets even further, and in order to do that, I'm actually going to have to change my if structure around a little bit. So actually, if global position dot x is greater than, let's say, 150 pixels, then I want to emit. I want to emit the signal level 2, for example. And this needs to be an elif, otherwise we're going to emit two signals. So else if it's really big, then emit the aggro signal. Else if it's just kind of big, emit the slightly less signal. So how do we respond to this? Right now, if I hit play, I've added these parameters. Nothing happens. It's broken.
Oh.
And why is it broken? You can even see it stuttering, probably because the program is freaking out. Basically, it's trying to call a method that doesn't exist. This emit is signal, the aggro signal, needs to call a function that can take a parameter. And right now, if we come back to our enemy script, we don't have a function that's taking a parameter. And as you can see, the green light went off. Remember, when you're connecting things with scripts, sadly, you do not get the helpful green pop-ups, but that's just life. All right. So we need a method that can actually take a parameter. Otherwise, it won't be called. And I don't believe, this is actually for my own knowledge, I don't believe we can overload functions in GDScript yet. So let's see if I have var, if I take a aggro level int, will it connect to? No, yeah. So you can't do that. But we can use default if we need to. So, all right. On player aggro, and then we can take a aggro level as an integer. Now you can set a default value to that, so that if you don't call it with a parameter, you'll still be able to work. But let's just leave it like this. We're going to call it with a parameter, and it needs a function to call that will take a parameter, or it simply won't call. So now that we have this aggro level, let's just see if our function is working again. So again, we have given our player this aggro signal. We're going to emit a signal with a parameter this time. The signal is emitted with a parameter, and now we go to our enemy, and we have a function that can receive that can receive a parameter that we can call. And finally, in our world, we need to connect them, right? Because right now we have connected them, right? So our player aggro is connected to the first enemy, to the second enemy, and even to this third spawned in enemy. And if we hit play, you can see all three are going to turn red, but they're not turning orange because we haven't actually put in that logic. So we're getting the signals, and I can show you if we just print the parameter player, if we simply just if we, let's see, where are we? If we print in enemy, aggro level, you can see that right now down here you can see it's aggro level 1, but as we move a little further past 150 pixels, now it's emitting 2. Now this is terribly non-performant code. Obviously you wouldn't necessarily want to emit a signal every single physics frame, but this is just for the sake of example. All right. Obviously you'd want some trigger that then sends the signal once rather than spamming the signaling calls. But anyways, just for simplicity's sake, we're just going to do it this way. So now we've emitted the signal, and all we have to do is now manage it. So on our player aggro, we know the aggro level. So if aggro level
Kind of nice. Nobody's watching me today.
Modulate the color to, let's just say yellow, and then if or else. I mean, we only have 2 right now, but I can.
I don't feel a bunch of need to really talk much.
Equals 2, then
we're just nice to try to listen, and also really fucking tired.
And so now when we do it, hopefully we will see yellow, and then we go a little further in red, and if we come back, they get less aggro. Although we never go to 0, so that would be another signal we could set up, or another parameter, just aggro level 0, they're modulating white. Aggro level 1, they modulate yellow. Aggro level 2, they modulate red. But I'm not going to go through that because that's just a little long-winded. All right. So now you can see we've figured out how to connect signals via code and that. But one of the problems with this is great and all, and the way that we're connecting is because the enemies technically have access to the player's aggro signal, and the aggro signal, and the player has the ability to connect to the enemies. So both of them can see each other, and that's why we're able to connect them properly. But we might be in a situation, and we're doing that through the world script, but you might want to sort of be in a situation where nodes that are very disparate from each other, that might not have direct access to each other or connects to each other, and that's where things get a little more difficult. And that kind of comes back to this idea of, let's see, let's go back to our little paint. This kind of gets back to the idea of this idea where you kind of want to have the ability to broadcast out to a lot of different places and then have the ability to pick up on that. And unfortunately for now, we do not have a class-wide. Ooh, I definitely don't want to make another project. We don't want to. We don't have the ability to do a class-wide connection. So far, signals, for example, I have the player class's signal. I cannot just connect, for instance, player, the class player. Remember in capitals, player. There's no player.aggro.
Hi, friend. I didn't even see you were in there.
An instantiated object in our object-oriented world. This aggro object only exists when it's made per object. It is not just there in the class of player. So
for some reason it's not showing me my viewer count on YouTube. So I didn't even know you were around here.
Connect, and then connect enemy, dot on function call. Or you're right on what did I call it, on player aggro. Hey, that unfortunately doesn't work. Now there is a slight cheat around this, at least for this part, not necessarily for the first part, because these signals so far do not have a static, but there is actually a workaround for enemy connecting to a static function, since static functions now exist, and I can actually show you how to do that. But first let's talk about the other way of doing this, and that is the event bus. So the event bus is essentially going to function just like the world script. It's going to have access, all the nodes are going to have access to it, and they can connect to signals, or and they can connect to signals, and you can even have sort of global functions that you can bind to them to receive. So let me show you what that entails. Really what we need is we need a new script. And we're going to come to scripts and file new script, and we're going to call it eventbus.gd. And it's just going to inherit node. I'm just going to get rid of these guys. And we don't even need technically a class name, because if we come to project settings, and auto load, we're going to auto load this script called the event bus. Okay, and we're going to call it, let's make it caps so it's nice looking, and then we're going to add this thing called the event bus, and this is now a global variable. So everything in your project will have access to this global variable. So even if you have two disparate scenes, or you have a complex node structure where, you know, there's like a UI top node and a world and a second world, you will have access to this global event bus. And we can prove that to ourselves by coming to, let's just have a variable called int health, or player health, or oops, sorry, get my C++ in this mixed up, call it int, and we'll set it equal to 0. Now, really anything can affect this. So if we go to our player script, let's see, where are we, player script, we can see the event bus dot health, player health.
I think I'm gonna get it
and
from
there
this.
it is. I have access to this player's health object, or sorry, variable. And similarly, if you come,
I love.
Please tell me. No, it doesn't mention this signals. Fuck. Uh. Uh. What's he gonna look up? Oh, yeah. Try again. Does a great job, but it's literally just going around the one thing that I need to know. Hello, 10-minute video.
Hey, what's up guys?
Do me
In this
well,
video,
please.
we'll be going over everything you need to know about signals in Godot. So the first thing you might be asking yourself
I like this
is,
color
what
scheme.
is a signal exactly? And essentially, signals are just messages that are able to be sent, and then any objects or nodes that would like to subscribe to those messages can receive the messages and then react accordingly inside of their own local scripts. This basic workflow is essential to keeping your code modular and organized, and is very powerful inside of Godot. So now that we kind of note that our score increased for different items,
Look
since
at
the
this.
label is currently only increasing our score by 1, we're going to be using an argument with our signal to define how much we want to increase our score by. So back in our player script, we only have one type of item currently, which is the lightning bolt, but eventually maybe
Oh, let me try something here. Okay, cool. Uh. Uh. How do I? We'll just call Joe number. Okay, let's say do this. Button dot. Hold on. Wait, what do I have as options? Button. Why can I not? Oh, that's that'll explain it. I am looking in the wrong place entirely. And it's still not there. Fucking fantastic. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, what does it say? Hold on. Let me open up something here. I just got a follower. That's what that said. Holy shit. I can't read what their name is, but holy shit, I got someone to follow me. What, dude? Why is it not popping up on my, like, actual, like, why is it not popping up on my, OBS that someone did that? What the fuck? Well, thank you, person who followed me. I didn't see that until now. Fuck. I didn't have 7 followers? Damn, I didn't think anyone was following me. What the fuck? Why am I not getting notifications, like, at all? For, like, followers. Do I have any subscribers? I know I'm kind of just, like, going off fucking rails right now, but I must know. I have 6 subscribers? What the fuck? Holy shit. Alright. Well, that's nice to know. Damn. I thought my fucking OBS like has like a, I'm using like what's it called, Adium or something like that. What's it called? Atum, AITUM, and that usually makes it where I can see my chats like all together in one place. And it was supposed to tell me whenever someone follows me, but it apparently never did. Because the last person that fucking followed me was over a month ago. And apparently I have 7 followers now. Holy shit. Well, I just feel a little worse about how today's went with this stream. Which, I mean, I'm not like too broken up about it. You must really watch it early. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the fuck it hasn't been updating my follower count on this thing. That's really weird. Also, this is just fucking wrong. I tried doing this and it's just not doing what I need to do. Let's see. May I need to export it first? Maybe? Oh, fuck, there it is. Hold on, wait, let me make sure that was because I exported it, not just because I saved it. Let me actually do this. Then I go back here. Yeah, okay, so it was just because I saved it, and I didn't save it. Fuck! 5. Okay, and now on you. I guess print. Jump. Number. Alright, let's see what this does. Okay. What about... Look at the beginning. Or the first frame. No, not even the first frame. Minutes. I guess it's, hold on, let me actually do this. I'm curious. Do that before that and press play. No, okay. I was thinking if I put this underneath this, it would, this script would print it before it moved down to this, and which changed it, but it didn't seem to do that. I don't entirely know about the ordering on things. There could be a little bit of wrong on that, but Yeah, let me go to the project list again. And let's try again on this. Let's see if we can do. See if we can do it. Hold on. Let's try this again. Let's see. Let's go here. Connect to the main, I suppose. $, dot, jump number equal to max. Wait on. $, edge dot. One. Okay, I lost all his bouncy properties. Oh, that's because I removed the fucking thing that made it bounce. Okay. I disconnected that shit. I literally lost all the code that did that. Cut. And then paste. Well, instantly removing this. There you go. And then it should be $. Oh, wait, which one was this a part of? Was it a part of the bouncy floor? Yeah, bouncy floor. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's why. Capitalization error. Yay! Yeah, I got it to work perfectly. Holy shit. Okay, wait. Let's not celebrate too much right now. Let's not go crazy. Hold on. Let's see if we... Okay, let's say max jumps 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shit, hold on. Hell yeah. So initial jump doesn't count. So 1, 2. Okay, so hold on. Initial jump doesn't count, so jump 1, 2, 3, 4. Bounce 1, 2, 3, 4. Hell yeah! I fucking did it, dude! Oh my gosh. Okay, so uploading it to like the main world scene seems like the best course of action, I believe. Holy moly. Oh, this is a big day. It's not perfect, but better than it was. Holy moly. Oh, this opens up possibilities for us. Yeah, let's open up a new one. 2D scene. And delete this. Start with a what the hell do we have? Just do a it's just a sprite 2D. Okay, now let's history node. This transform serial. What? Oh, hold on. Modulate to red. Okay, now let's add a area 2D to it. And a script. Zone. Okay. Let me do this with the world. Well, I need to actually save the scene first. Save you. That was the wrong thing. Yeah, 2D vector, visual zone. She's a glitcher shape, right? Yeah. And it needs to be a rectangle. Go. I'll also add a label to this. Layout. Set that to main. Okay, so yes, $sign pitch. What do I need to change here? Is there a gravity thing? Uh, $80. Oh, I have an idea. times. Times. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay, that's good. Dot and equal to uh uh what is happening? Attrition that times over 0. Oh. Let me do this again. You fucking kidding me? What the fuck? Oh, wait. Do the same thing, honestly. Why are you not changing anything? Right. It's not getting touched. Wait. I know. Collision mass 2. Shit, what mask is this one? Just want to make sure. Yeah, we're good. Oh shit, it worked! Right. No, it was horizontally. No. Uh. That's. Vertically is that. Well, why is it not doing that? Question. me look at this again. Oh, let me do the cam. Spritz. This one. I'll try this out real quick. Fuck. I should put that on ceiling. Hold on. Can you? I think like a lot of stuff that I could do. Direction. What the fuck is he talking about? Okay, well that changes things a lot. Let me actually set that in here. Let's see, that's way significantly up. Equal to oh, I'll say it. So let me get rid of this. Perfect. That's it. Okay, let's see what this does. Fuck. Alright, I crashed it instantly. Oh, I know. Two. see here. How to flip a camera in camera 2D.zoom. Oh fuck, there we go. How to oh, she's not multiplying their gravity. No. What the fuck happened? Load and nil. Oh. My bad. I never added a show what it meant. Fuck. Go. Okay, let me look at their code again. Let's see what this does. Why is this happening? Excuse me? Slide, no, I'm curious. Print. Why? Hey, what is this? Jumping from 600 to negative 600 and then all of it. I don't know. Okay, so when grab it is flipped, anything on a pad during moon debugger output shown. Alright. This. And there you have it. Failing. Okay. Detaility? What? What the fuck did I say that? Detailing. My velocity. Okay. Is my velocity when you move up these. There we go. All I have is like 3 frames, really. Just run one more time, look at it one last time. Oh, let me test them before we. Yeah, it still works. What? Why? What? Why does it work now all of a sudden? What the fuck? Oh, it was because I changed it to just pressed. Got it. I actually accidentally fixed my own bug without realizing it. Well, shit. Did I have to type all that then? Yeah, let's do this then. Left and to be inverted on gravity flip. Really, that's all I really need to fix. I was confused. I was thinking, like, did me running at a slower simulation speed actually cause it to fix the fucking bugs? Somehow? No, it wasn't the case at all. Anyways. Alright, I guess that's it for right now. I'll, see all this tomorrow, figure out what's bugging out what, figure out solutions. Well, I'm surprised I managed to get that much done. Oh. Hold on a second, let me... let me see. Where is it? Gravity well. Right. So let me make sure. Yeah, okay, so collecting that actually just gets rid of it. Sick. Did it. Awesome. Well, we'll work on the rest of this tomorrow, so I'll see you all there. By the way, yes, I know it's Tuesday and not Friday, so that's I missed my last board meeting, so that's why I named it this one, number 7. Also just kind of wanted to showcase a little bit what I've learned, but I couldn't really do that, so Yeah. Anything else I wanted to showcase today? I don't think so. Thought there was something, but it's probably not important. Little things here or there. I don't know. Board meetings are mainly like showing off progress and stuff. Well, that's kind of what these are supposed to be, but they haven't really been that way since the first one. But you know, it's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this all out later. So, anyways, until then, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Good enough stream. We got some stuff done, so I'm actually kind of surprised by that, but I know that I'm doing quick and dirty methods, ways of doing things, so it's gonna bite me in the ass later on, but for now, that'll be fine. So, good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.